All right, so it is 2 p.m. and we would like to welcome all of you. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks so much for joining us this afternoon, Wednesday afternoon. Means you've made it through half of the week. Give yourselves, hold on there. Let's turn that down. Thanks so much for joining us this afternoon, Wednesday afternoon. Right. Right. So give yourselves a round of applause. You only have 2 more days to go in the week, right? So that's great. Today, we're happy you've joined us because we're talking about water. So let's talk water, right? Now, let's see why we're having this discussion today. Jamaica's water quality has consistently been ranked as one of the top quality water in the world, right? What does that mean? Well, layman's term, Jamaica water nice. And that is something that the world recognizes. But look at this. According to WaterAid, over 844 million people around the world do not have access to clean water. Do we have that problem in Jamaica? Well, let's break it down again. Jamaica has been known for a long time as the land of wood and water. Do you think that's still true? Do you have questions about that land of wood and water, Monica, that we've been known by? We're going to discuss all of that today. And before we do, we just want to go through a little housekeeping. So, our meeting is being streamed directly to Facebook. So if you have friends on Facebook, tell them to jump over to NEPA Jamaica on Facebook and catch our NEPA Connects with JN Foundation, right? Now, in addition to the meeting being recorded, we also will be facilitating some Q&As. So if you have any comments, if you have any questions, jot them down in the comment section. Yeah, drop them. You can do it at the end of the session or you can do it right throughout the presentation. It's really up to you. But here's some excitement. We're going to be giving away some prizes today. Jane didn't come empty-handed. No. Omar Wright, project manager, Jane Foundation Water Project, has walked with some gifts for you. And you know we don't refuse gifts, right? So we're going to be sharing those gifts with you. And David Reed, our coordinator of Watersheds Information Systems here at NEPA, will also be giving away some prizes. So prizes and more prizes. So once again, we really hope you enjoy this session. We have a lot in store for you today. So by way of introduction, just in case you didn't catch it, we have two fine gentlemen with us today, and they're going to be sharing some information on, listen to this, the role of the JN Water Project and Jamaica's Watersheds. So we're going to be taking you from the source of our water all the way through to when you access water in your pipes at home. So that's quite a bit of journey, and we're going to aim to do it in about 30 minutes, 45 minutes the most. And we really hope you can stay with us because we promise not to be long. So we have Omar Wright, who is the project manager for the Jamaica National Foundation's Water Project. And we also have David Reed from NEPA, our coordinator for the Watersheds Information Systems. Gentlemen, good afternoon. Welcome to NEPA Connects. We're so excited to have you. And today we want you to share with us quite a few of the things you've been working on. Um, Omar, I'm just going to start with you because you are our special guest. So thank you so much for making your way over to NEPA today. Omar, tell us a little bit about the water project. We know you just had a water summit. So tell us a little bit about that.
Thank you so much, Travis. And before I go into it, let me just take this opportunity to thank NEPA and the entire NEPA team for extending this invitation to the Jamaica National Foundation Water Project to come and share in this topic on water, because we do know, we say it all the time, and you gave one of them monk here, that Jamaica is the land of wood and water, and we want to let it remain as such. And we also know that water is life. Since in primary school, we've been saying that, high school, and even when we're adults, we say water is life. So we thank you for this platform. We thank you for inviting us. And we are hoping that what we share, it will be useful to every Jamaican. Because as the foundation, we want to empower our Jamaican citizens and our citizens within the communities to do their part to ensure that Jamaica remains the land of wood and water. So you asked about the Jamaica National Foundation Summit, and I'm so happy that you take note of that, because NEPA was one of our partners on that summit as well. So thank you so much. The Water Summit was part of the deliverables for the project, the Jamaica National Foundation Water Project. Now, what we sought to do through the project is two things. Firstly, we wanted to present the case for what we have now currently. So the water situation, the water resources in Jamaica, the importance of those water resources, watershed, we will hear a little bit more on the importance of watershed, and the critical relevance of water sources to rural and urban planning. But we also wanted to put forward solutions, because we are faced with this climate crisis the world over. Just this morning, reading the newspaper, you would see that the weather phenomenon that countries are faced with, the changes in weather over extended period of time, and the heat. And we know that one of the things that we experience in Jamaica is droughts. We wanted to look at some solutions, some innovative solutions that we can pursue. So the summit sought to look at those. But also we wanted to use the summit as a platform to call for government action to ensure housing units, when they are being developed, constructed either by the government of Jamaica through its agencies, and more specifically the NHT, or the Housing Association of Jamaica, as well as private players. They, in their construction development, they feature climate resiliency and water conservation fittings and systems. So whether that is rainwater harvesting or rainwater recycling, or toilets, water efficient toilets and faucets. So we wanted to provide a platform where we call for government action in ensuring that as we develop in a climate resilient way. So that was what the summit, the water summit, that was held on May 13th and 14th of this year, sought to do. You're on mute, Travis.
Oh, are you hearing me now?
You're with us now. You're with us
Okay.
now.
Yeah,
In this virtual world, this mute button, we have to pay some keen attention to it.
right. Yes. Uh, Now, how does the Water Summit tie into the bigger scope of things, Omar, for the water project? Just so our listeners can understand what JN Foundation is doing right now.
All right. So the water project, the water project it's a partnership through the Jamaica National Bank, the Jamaica National Foundation, the Inter-American Development Bank, the Pilot Program for Climate Resiliency, PPCR, uh, through that funding mechanism through the Climate Investment Fund. So what the project seeks to do, the project's main objectives, is to enhance Jamaica's climate resiliency through the use of water adaptation technology. And by water adaptation technology, we mean shower heads, we mean faucets for your bathroom, kitchen, efficient water toilets. We mean systems, rainwater, grey water recycling systems. So to enhance climate resiliency through the use of water conservation or water adaptation technologies. So that's the major aim or objective of the project. As a part of realizing that objective, we seek to do three things, and that is to facilitate an uptake of water adaptation measures in the housing sector right across Jamaica. We also try to increase climate resilient housing. And how we do this is, as I've mentioned earlier, through partnerships with government. So one of the things that we've done is to develop a water adaptation guidelines for the 21st century to ensure that developers, when they are doing their planning, they take on board water efficiency, water conservation. And the third pillar that we focus on is increasing the efficient use of water. So under the project, we seek to do those three things. And the pillars that we focus on, three main things that we want to drive is security, so water security, water resiliency, as well as water effectiveness. So we want to do security, we want to do efficiency, and we want to ensure that there is resilience.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Omar. So for our listeners, and again, we just want to remind you, let persons know, we're on Facebook Live right now, and we would love if you could tell a friend to jump over on Facebook and check out our live. Also, if you have any questions about the work that Jane Foundation is doing with the water project, type it in the chat. If you have any comments on the work that they're doing, type that in the chat as well. I'm going to invite David now to jump in. David, again, is our coordinator for the Watersheds information systems here at NEPA. And David, now we just heard from Omar, who spoke extensively about practical solutions to the challenges that we're having in Jamaica regarding our water. I would like for you now, David, to kind of frame it in a bigger context regarding our watersheds. Let's start very small. David, what's a watershed? So you now have to unmute, David.
I'm not
Great.
on mute.
Great.
I was on mute.
Yes.
So once again, good afternoon, everyone. Omar, Travis, everyone else who's listening. My name is David Reed, coordinator, Watersheds Information Systems. So we're gonna go step right into what Omar was talking about and giving you some framework as to where we're coming from. So a watershed is considered to be a drainage system, series of drainage basins that connect to a major river or water course. And that, in essence, is basically what a watershed is. Jamaica is divided into 26, the island is divided into 26 watershed management units, and we're governed by the Watershed Protection Act of 1963. So under that act, the NEPA itself has many facets to it, and the NRCA's acts and other acts that govern watershed management play a major role. Now, Amara was speaking to the end user component. Now we are going to go into the production side, so to speak, nature. Now, while we're covered with everyone look around, lots of greenery, and we see a lot of rainfall happening, one of the things is that we're not having good catchment because we're having a lot of runoff because of things like deforestation. So through land clearance, we're gonna have surface runoff rather than we're having percolation into our surface flow areas and into our basins, which allows us to store water and then harvest that water later on. The National Water Commission is the major body that does the storage, the extraction, storage, and distribution. And that's who will provide you with that. I mean, the other development will have private suppliers through deep wells. That's again from storage. So in essence, your rainwater, your water cycle forms a component of how we manage watersheds. So if we don't have the capacity to attract and retain water, then we won't be known as a land of wood and water. So that in a nutshell is basically how we are looking at managing our watersheds through other components, the underground activities, through other projects, to projects and major interventions that we can seek to retain our natural environment and maintain that and enhance that so that we have effective water retention. And then we can go into efficient distribution and storage so that when you get it through a JN project and you are now going into, we're asking you to do water conservation, it's all meaningful to you.
Excellent. Thank you so much, David. You've really helped us to see the importance of our watersheds, and that's going to help us to transition to our question to Omar. But before I do, we want to give away a prize. So let's give away the first prize, right? How many watersheds are there in Jamaica? How many watersheds are there in Jamaica? You can answer on Facebook. You can answer in the chat, whichever you prefer. First person to answer, let us know. Oh, there we go. There we go. There we go. People winning. People winning. All right. Great. Congratulations. So we have winners already, David. That means you delivered the presentation clearly, right?
And
Very
it was
nice.
clear to see everyone was paying attention.
Yes, yes.
On the ball. Two persons right away.
Yes. Now, I'm going to go to, so we see our winners and we'll get to you shortly. Congratulations. We'll get to you shortly to let you know what you've won. But I want to go now to a why, because David, you mentioned why we're trying to safeguard our watersheds. And I want to go to Omar now. Omar, why are we having the water project in Jamaica? Why is it being implemented? Could you remind us?
All right, so the why for the project. So as all of our listeners and viewers, those on Facebook, those listening in, they will have experienced quite recently a situation where Jamaica, though we are known as the land of wood and water, we were experiencing drought conditions. What we would have also experienced is that when we were expecting rainfall, the intensity of the rainfall, the volume of the rainfall that was happening was sometimes overwhelming us. So when we at the foundation were looking, because as we said, we're always trying to improve the lives of Jamaicans and always trying to empower our communities to respond to the challenges that they're having. One of the things that we realized was that drought and how drought was affecting communities, how drought was affecting householders and the domestic use of why we need water, and that was affecting communities. So those are some of the things that would have led us, as well as we started to realize climate change and the problems with climate change, that we needed to be proactive if we were going to be able to adapt to and mitigate the problems when they arise. We also recognize that the projections were looking at urbanization. So a lot of persons were moving into urban centers, and there was a whole lot of housing construction. Even in the news of recently, we would have seen the discussions around urban development and what factors in all of that: water. So the building is going up, but how are you going to survive? Because water is life. So that would have prompted us to collaborate with the Inter-American Development Bank to form a project such as this to respond to those challenges, the challenges of drought, shifting patterns in rainfall, climate change. So those factors would have led us to craft a project such as this one, focusing, our main focus would be the developers for those housing complexes that were going up, as well as regular householders.
Excellent. Thank you so much, David. David, I think it's time for us to give away a prize from your side. What do you think?
Well, in about 2 minutes time. Just
Okay.
want to add to what Omar was saying, because
Yes.
as it is on that side of the consumption, we have to take our own water conservation methods into our own hands. It's timely that GN is pushing forward with low flow toilets, other water conservation devices within the home. Developers, I'm taking it from the homeowner now into the developer who's putting systems in place. So they are also being encouraged to put in systems for rainwater harvesting and storage of that supply or commodity, the rainwater, so that they on site can use it for additional watering of landscape. And we're going to take it one step further now that the householder can also retrofit those if their developers didn't do it or they're doing single homes, that they can retrofit for use of gray water and recycling of water so that their consumption is a lot less. And if you were to check that against your bills that you're paying to NWC, then you will start seeing some savings if you retrofit and go that route. One of the things that Omar had touched on is that supply. Now, the climate change phenomenon is very, very real. Canada is experiencing some severe heat right now. They're having heat wave. If we're expecting that we're getting torrential rainfalls in the next couple of days because of the systems that are moving in, then be mindful that the NWC may not be able to capture as much water because turbidity is a major factor. Once the rivers are turbid, they cannot intake because of the silting that will take place. You always hear about the Mona Reservoir being heavily silted. By the way, just let everyone know that, just to reiterate that we in Kingston and St. Andrew get our water supply from mainly the Hope River and the Yalas River. Now, when we extracting water from those in other rural communities are going to be impacted also from that water diversion, that demand is greater in the urban setting. So I'm going to introduce a terminology here that we have been pushing through the last project that came on board, which was the Yalas Hope project for management of those two watersheds. It's the payment for ecosystem services. In a nutshell, that is where the consumer pay a very small percentage on their consumption. That money is then transferred back to users within the upper reaches or the higher reaches of the watershed for protection work, for best practices on farms, large farms, coffee farms, small farms, the man who's doing hillside farming. So we've transferred knowledge to those persons, and this is a project that can transfer knowledge right across the island because it's replicable, and best practices are best practices. So slash and burn methods that people have been using to clear land is a no-no. That contributes to high turbidity, high runoff rates. Reforestation of areas that you're not using, intercropping with tree crops, fruit trees, that is a plus. So that funding will help to offset some of their expenses into protection of the upper watershed. So you may want to chip in that one now, Travis, and ask.
Well, you left it hanging a bit for us, so we're going to pick up. Why do we need to protect? Well, not why we need to protect them, but what are really some of the main threats facing our watersheds at this time?
As we alluded to some of those, it is the land preparation for agriculture. It is the utilization of marginal lands for housing development. Also, it is illegal logging. We have mining activities that are, in essence, not saying that it's uncontrollable. I mean, they are approved mining, but some of the on the ground, on site factors have to be put in perspective. You can't just clear a large piece of land just because you are going to be mining that area eventually. You have to do it incrementally, phased. And when you're doing that, you have to do restoration work. So if you're not doing restoration work and you're wantonly going through and clearing agricultural, mining, you're doing activities within our rivers, so you're compromising our water sources, you're clearing the riparian forest, which is that forest structure just on the borders of our riverbanks that provide the microclimate that the river and the ecosystem that marine freshwater ecosystem need to survive. Then you are now destroying your water supply. And if you start doing that upper reaches, then you're gonna have a flow all the way down to our coastline and into our reef areas. So we're gonna be having those threats coming from illegal logging, hillside farming, slash and burn, open air burning, which cause an annual devastating forest fires throughout the region annually. So those are some of the major factors that actually contribute to our degradation of the watershed areas.
Awesome. Thank you so much, David. Now, is this why we have the WAM or the WAMM?
Well, you have just introduced the WAM, which is the Watersheds Area Management Mechanism. So the system was created out of another wider project, and it was tested first and implemented in the Drivers River Watershed Management Unit over there in the eastern side of the island. And it was quite a success because it has 10 components that we utilize for management purposes. So now we have to, one, engage the community. We formalize governance approach with active players in those areas. We have to do the reconnaissance of resources that are available and can be utilized in that area. Capacity building through training. We have to train our people on the ground, not just the persons who are the technocrats. We have to train farmers. We have to train persons who are actively utilizing our forests or land areas. We do capacity building that way. We establish indicators from monitoring those watersheds that we're active in. We also do training in writing for grant proposal writing. So here now, persons who have been trained can approach a JN now with a project proposal on the ground that has environmental factors in it that are positive, and it could be a win-win that JN is also sponsoring an environmental project through funding that they may secure otherwise internationally or locally, or partner with other local entities for funding of environmental projects, community-based projects that have that kind of a protection built into it of our ecosystems. And when I say ecosystems, I mean, we're just looking at not just one set of system that has to do with the river ecosystem or a forest structure. We have other flora and fauna that rely heavily on this. One of our fauna that rely heavily on our forest structure is our bats. They are a good seed disperser.
Hold on there, David. We don't want you to go into the bats just yet. We know you love the bats. but what we want to do is we want to get our viewers involved now. And so what we want to do, we're going to give away 2 prizes, right? We're very generous today. So the first prize, we're going to take it all the way back to the JN Water Project. And Omar, there's actually a question about the water kits, but so we're going to give away one of those water kits now, right? So here's the question. Name the 2 main water project beneficiaries. Name the 2 categories of people who are targeted by the water project. Facebook, Zoom, let us know. Drop it in the comments, right? And you'll get a water kit. Here's the next.
I can't compete.
No, that's fine. That's fine. We're collaborating. We're not competing today. We're not competing today.
No, I can't engage and get a water kit, huh?
But, oh, that's what you mean. No, you can't get it. But we want to know
pulling your leg.
What 2 categories of individuals in Jamaica is the Jamaica National Foundation Water Project targeting with their water kits? What 2 categories? While you think on that, here's a question from David. What does WAMM mean? And where was the WAMM piloted? Where was it first rolled out in Jamaica? So there you go. 2 questions. We haven't seen, we see part of the answer for the water kits. Some persons are telling us farmers. Omar, we want you to be ready to let them know if they're correct. But as we now move into the final lap of our session, Omar, we want to hear from you. Our sustainable development goals that Jamaica is really focused on. How does the water project contribute to us meeting these sustainable development goals?
Right, excellent. So the sustainable development goals. So for most of our viewers and for those of our viewers who might not be aware, in 2015, the world, the globe came together to accept some sustainable development goals basically looking at areas of life for humanity that we need to take action on if we are supposed to preserve humanity. So a part of those 17 Sustainable Development Goals is a goal looking at water. So goal 6 of the SDGs speaks to water and sanitation. Now, the spirit of the SDGs is also aligned, or the water project is aligned to the spirit of the SDGs, in that the three main themes that runs through all of the activities that the project does is those of efficiency, security, and resilience. So we are aligned with the Sustainable Development Goals in that respect. Also, climate resiliency. There is a dedicated goal for climate resiliency in goal 13, which calls for climate actions. And so this decade that we're in, it is known as the decade for action, whereby we need to take action. So right across the world, countries need to take action to ensure that the goals that we've set and that we've adopted, or government has adopted, we realize those goals. How does the water project play into that? So at the global level, the goals are set. At the national level, the Jamaican government, through Vision 2030, we aligned with goal 4 in the national development plan, which speaks to water as well, and the environment. Now, how we come in, we have to take those national actions, support the government. We are a philanthropic organization of one of the major financial institutions in Jamaica, in the Jamaica National Bank, which is a part of our Jamaica National Group. What we do is to support in the local communities how regular Jamaicans can take action to realize the goals in the Sustainable Development Agenda, and in specific, goal 6. So we try to ensure that there is available access to water. We also try to ensure that water is used efficiently. We try to ensure that there is water security. So in the periods in time when we are having heavy rainfall, we try to encourage that rainwater harvesting system are put in place. We try to encourage that there is some level of storage capacity, so that when we experience drought, we have storage that we can go for security purpose. And resilience, so the conservation, so that whenever time there is a drought, we ensure that the supplies that we do have, we use them in a very effective and efficient way. So that is how we assist with the localization, that's the term, the localization of the Sustainable Development Goals, not letting them be abstract and out of the reach of regular Jamaicans. We go into the communities, we break it down, and we empower them. We empower them to take action in meeting the Sustainable Development Goals.
Excellent. That was a fulsome response. Thanks so much, Omar. As I said, we're in the final lap now. And so what we want to do is take it to David. Now, David, here's a question. You see, goal 5 in the watershed policy for Jamaica, it really talks about increasing public awareness. How can private sector stakeholders like the JN Foundation and other groups assist in us fulfilling goal 5 or meeting goal 5 of the policy? Remember to unmute for us.
Thank you very much, Travis. I had it muted. So in seeking to increase our public awareness coverage in terms of water conservation, it is something that we will be willing and readily partner. And we do partner with the private sector when we're doing most of our intervention work across the island. Work in all of our watershed areas, management areas, and we host farmer training days. We have various events that we're hosting for signature days. So the awareness is something that we are willing and ready to take on and partner with. But we also have dissemination of information that we can do virtually also while we go through this delicate, well, transition stage into the so-called new norm of living with coronavirus. But all protocols observe while we do our underground activities. The dissemination of information can also be done through actively doing that doing component. So while we're giving you solutions that can be implemented by the individuals, the organizations out there can reach out to NEPA and then put forward their program outline that we can work together with through our public department, of course, and the various branches that operate under NEPA, that we can have that kind of a active doing underground, because it's all good and well to talk and we put it on paper, but we just need to be planting more, conserving more, inputting more rainwater harvesting solutions and consumption less flow solutions that we can have out there. So we're here.
Excellent. So you're throwing it out, and let me tell you something. So right now on Facebook, I know for a fact that some of our partners have heard you, David, because one of the persons who responded to our question just now is one of our partners. So we are very excited to have them in attendance, because that aspect of the public awareness for our watershed policy, it means collaboration is going to be key. And so we want persons to pay attention to that and learn from David, because David said, we are here, we are open, we want to work with you. Omar, final comments from you now. How can Jamaicans in general ensure that we remain the land of wood and water?
Now, how can Jamaica, and I think that this is the crux of it, how can our individual actions, the actions that we take as Jamaicans, preserve what we have and maintain Jamaica being the land of wood and water? And so the Jamaica National Foundation, through the Water Project, what we sought to do is to go out in the communities and find out from people what were some of their concerns. So before we started anything, we had some idea on this water conservation, but we didn't know how it would function in the Jamaican context and what Jamaicans would do. So what we thought we would do is to demonstrate to Jamaicans the business case, how they can save money. David mentioned it earlier, how they can save on their water bills. So what we did earlier in the project conceptualization was to think about a pilot study with the same technologies that we've been speaking about. I said it at the opening: water efficiency toilets, aerators and faucets, and rainwater harvesting system. So in the height of the pandemic in last year, we rolled out a pilot study where we went into 9 Jamaican households at the varying income levels, and we installed water efficient devices. Mind you, this was at the height of the pandemic, when what was the instruction for government? Wash your hands, sanitize. So we would have been using water quite frequently. And would you believe that from us installing water efficient devices and different water conservation systems in the households, on average, we saw savings of 30% on their water bills. So persons saw savings immediately. So we would have started, say we started in March, on their April month bill, they were seeing reductions. And those reductions in their electricity, in their water bills, have been consistent. So that is one of the things that Jamaicans can do to ensure that we remain the land of wood and water, to practice water conservation, good water management when you're brushing your teeth, to not allow the faucet to run when you are taking your shower, not to allow it to run. But more than that, we want to empower Jamaicans to take action. So within the foundation and under the project, what we've done is to develop a homeowner's guide on how they can save water and how to practice good water conservation practices. And that can be found on the website. It's free and available. You can go and you can download it. What we've also done to assist the other group of beneficiaries, so not the also at this time, but the developers, is to simplify the construction regulation into one document known as the Water Adaptation Guidelines. And developers in the universe, even if they're not in Jamaica, they can go to the Water Project JA website, and the Water Adaptation Guidelines is there. It speaks to the regulation that government already have on the book. It centralizes it in one area, so when they don't need to go multiple places, it's there. One of the other things that we've done, we're encouraging the homeowners to go out and purchase the low flush toilets, and we're encouraging them to put in water faucets in and all of these wonderful things. But then where are they gonna get it? And what's the investment they need to put in, and when can they expect the returns? So one of the beautiful things that we've also done was to put a suppliers list on the website, so you know exactly where you can go. It's reputable places, the contact information is there. But then we went further. We have a water savings calculator. So you can choose the different technologies that you want to purchase. You have a price listing range from it, and you can plug it in to see, okay, if I invest this, when can I see the returns on my investment? And all of that is available on the Water Project GA website.
Omar, thank you so much, because you touched on two important things. Savings. I don't know any Jamaican who doesn't want to save money. And David
Right.
mentioned the payment for ecosystem services earlier, and that talks about how you can earn money. Again, I don't know any Jamaican who doesn't want to earn money. So from our two presenters today, we've seen that by helping Jamaica to remain the land of wood and water, you can also save money. You can also earn money. Those are two win-wins, right? Now, so we thank you so much, David and Omar. We're really grateful for you spending some time with us today. We have some more gifts to give away because we didn't exhaust all of them. We want to thank our audience. We want to thank you guys for being with us. Thank you for taking your Wednesday afternoon to spend a few minutes talking about water. And we want to thank the Jane Foundation. We want to commend the Jane Foundation on this amazing initiative, the Water Project. And one of the reasons for that is, Omar, you said that before you guys rolled out the project, you did something crucial. You went to the people. You asked them, what do you Jamaicans want us to help you with? And I think that has really helped to contribute to the success of the JN Foundation Water Project. I have posted in the chat the link to our payment for ecosystem services. So you can take a look at that video. It's on our YouTube channel. The link is in the chat. Click on that video, take a look at how you can earn money. Because as I said, I don't know any Jamaican who don't want to earn money. But at this time, we're going to give away the rest of our prizes. So we call this one rapid fire. So you have to be sharp, right? You have to be sharp. So Omar, we have one more prize to give away, because I think we got the winner for the first one, the beneficiaries. Now, here's a second question. What are 3 themes of the JN Water Project? What are 3 themes? 3 things that they want to bring out or they focus on for the water project? 3 themes. Let's see if you have the answers for that one. 3 themes for the JN Water Project. Anybody know? You're getting a water kit, people. You're getting a chance to save money, Anybody know? 3 themes. While you think about the themes, we're gonna ask some questions from our watershed side. So again, it's rapid, so you have to think fast. Here are the questions, right? Now, again, I don't think we've gotten the river yet. So in which watershed management unit was the Watershed Area Management Mechanism, WAM, first rolled out? Where in Jamaica? David, let's give them a clue. River. So it's a river. But which
It's
river?
in Portland.
It's in Portland. There's another clue. There's another
Well,
clue.
all of our water.
All right. So don't give them any more clues, David. Hold on there, because we're gonna ask another question. Name 2 threats currently being faced by our watersheds. 2 threats. You see how many prizes we're giving away? And it's just Wednesday. Can you imagine Friday? 2 threats currently facing our watersheds. Let us know. Drop the comment in the chat. Drop the comment in the chat. Those sound like the same threats, you know, chill on. So 2 threats, 2 main things affecting Jamaica's watersheds. We know you know. So think about it and drop it in the chat. Right? Now here's another question. You see how many prizes we're giving away? What are 2 components of the watershed area management mechanism? What are 2 components of the WAM? 2 components of the WAM.
And just to let everyone know, there are 10. So
there
you
are
just have
10.
to get 2.
No, two threats. 2 threats facing our watersheds. 3 themes of the Jamaica National Water Project. People, it's on Google. You can Google it really quickly and type it in.
I'm going to give them a clue. It's one of the first things that Jane did with their project that starts ours.
Any takers? Anybody want to try? No?
The person could also visit our website right now and you'll find the
website. Jump on the website. 2 right.
You
3 themes of the water project. And for watersheds, 2 threats facing our watersheds and 2 components. 2 components of the WAM. 2 components of the WAM. All right. So we are going to wrap up here. and so Omar, what we want you to do is just give us the answer. If we've had a winner so far, we're going to reach out to that winner and make sure you get your prize. But Omar, give us the answer to the first question.
3 overarching themes are efficiency, security, and resiliency. And the answers to the other question, did you say somebody got it, Travis?
Yes, somebody did in fact get it. But you can tell us.
I'll just reiterate right now, the answers would be the 2 main beneficiaries of the project are developers and householders.
There you go. David, it's your time. Give us the answer to the question.
Which one was it piloted in?
The watershed management unit.
Drivers River.
Drivers River.
Right on the border of Portland and St. Thomas, going around there.
I wonder if that's what threw them off, but it's fine. You did say Portland. Now, how about 2 threats, David?
Those threats are anthropogenic by man, and we're looking at slash and burn, which is deforestation. Someone did say deforestation, and we're also looking at illegal development, squatting, which again comes to land clearance. There's also fire, threat of fire to our watersheds. So open air burning. I just gave them 3.
You gave them a lot. It's fine. It's fine. Here's the other one though, David. 2 components of the WAM. What are 2 components of the WAM?
So like any good practitioner and want to do management and resources and people, you have to go to the people first. So our first component is engagement of the community. That involves asking the community members and the persons within the watershed management unit what is their vision, what is that they want to do for their watershed. And then we also engage in capacity building. So we have to train them to in the field of best practices, and also we train them, which is a third component now, to go out and seek funding for their projects within their areas.
Is governance one of the components?
Governance is the second one.
Nice. So we definitely have some fine
Oh,
winners
someone
today.
said governance.
Oh yeah,
Okay.
man. We have some big winners today,
So
and it's quite fitting for the big prizes that we have. So we're gonna get those prizes to you. We're gonna make sure that we get your name, we get your contact information, so we can get those prizes to you.
Give all the winners a shout out on Facebook.
Oh, definitely, man. Definitely, definitely. David, Omar, Wednesday afternoon, we talked water. We took them from the source of our water right down to the water in their taps. And I think you guys did a great job. Gentlemen, thank you so much for your afternoon. David, our coordinator of the Watersheds Information Systems here at NEPA. Omar Wright, project manager, Jamaica National Foundation Water Project. Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you to our viewers. Thank you to our followers. Make sure you're following NEPA. Make sure you didn't just stop in to listen to the live, but we want to make sure you're following NEPA. Share this video, like, comment, subscribe. You're used to it by now. And have yourselves a wonderful rest of the day, and stay tuned for the next NEPA Connects. Take
just
care.
before we go as well,
Oh,
I'd
welcome.
like to say as well, thank you so much to NEPA and the team. These challenges that we face, no one entity can effectively and efficiently tackle them. So it beckons. One of those sustainable development goals does speak to partnership. So we look forward to partnering further with NEPA. We've worked closely already, and we continue to look to those partnerships. And as well, our regular Jamaicans, we thank you for the support. You have been supporting the Jamaica National Foundation, the Water Project, and we thank you for the support. We have opened up our website. You can go there with all of the resources. And should you need any further information, you can feel free to reach out to us at all of our social media handles, the Jamaica National Foundation, and we will be happy to provide you with the assistance.
Excellent. And similarly, you can
Excellent,
follow us
Omar.
across Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube, NEPA Jamaica. Final comments from you,
Travis?
David?
Yeah, I have one parting thought to pass on to everyone. When you go to your tap, before you turn it on, ask yourself, am I prepared if there's no? We all turn it on and expect your water to be flowing. And that is why we leave it running while we brush our teeth and we do something else and we just have the dishes in. But ask yourself the question, am I prepared if there's no water conservation? That is where you ought to be. Be prepared.
All right.
That's
Be
the
prepared.
last thought I can give you.
Thank
If
you
you're
so
prepared,
much.
you're good to go.
All right. Thank you, David. Thank you, Omar. Thank you to all our viewers
You're welcome.
today. Have a great day.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Have a great rest of the day, everyone.